All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome to this lovely October live stream. How is everybody doing today? Let me know in the comments or in the chat if you can hear me well. I do want to share that this has probably been the best day for October because not only was it raining today, but the leaves have started to change. The colors of the leaves they're starting to slowly change, and the colors of the orange and red and yellows slowly trickling in. And it was also like gloomy today, but it was like we had a little rain in the morning. But man, it was probably the most, I don't know, most Octoberous feeling I could think of at the moment. But yeah, it was such a beautiful day for October. Holy crap. How is everybody doing today? Thank you so much for joining on this Wednesday night. I have not streamed in over 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, so I deeply apologize, but we should be back on schedule now. All right, let's go over the chat. What's going on, Miss? How's it going? Thank you for joining. Couchboy, Wilfredo Diaz, Derek Holloman, Robert Wantlin, 17 Decimal, Derek Holloman. I already read that. Vilda Great. Roland Mack, how's it going? We have, who else do we have? Tidal Manishir, what's going on? Chris Yule, the Beginner Gunner, Craig N. So, man, so awesome to see all you guys. All of you are legends. There's not one name in here that I do not recognize. So, I'm very happy to see so many familiar names on here. I consider everybody family here. So, what's going on? Tidal Manager says happy Thursday. Chris Yule says where'd you go? He goes, my wallet hurts. Yes, we'll definitely talk about that shortly. We'll talk about everyone's wallets in a bit. Craig N says what's up, and shout out to everyone who's giving the shark emojis. Thank you so much. That's freaking awesome. I love seeing the shark emojis. Roland Mack is considering everybody family. That's absolutely right. I am feeling much better thanks to everyone's input on what to drink in my last video, because you guys offered some great advice. So you can even tell by my voice that it's a lot better than what it was prior. Flaming Crow, how's it going on, buddy? It's good to see you. Yeah, so when it comes to pre-orders, we all know at this point, I mean, I don't know how many people are kind of new into Classified that are probably going to watch the stream later or that are in the chat right now. I'm very aware that this is a same old Hasbro tactic, and surprisingly, nothing has changed, within these 4.5 years. We all pre-order our figures. They give you like an estimated shipping date, which sometimes it's usually true. And then out of nowhere, because we hit towards the end of the year, the holidays, that's when something happens. And then out of nowhere, everyone's pre-orders just get bombarded. And then their wallets take a major hit. And I've seen the trend of this happen so many times. And this is technically and unfortunately nothing new. So I'm not too surprised that they decided to start shipping out like so many figures. And I find it very fascinating that people pre-ordered GIJOE Classified Budo, and they consider him, like, it's been well received, probably considered one of the best figures of 2025. And with that being said, now now we're getting people are finding Budo in their Walmarts. Like, that's freaking crazy. Imagine waiting like, I don't know how many months for your Budo figure, and then suddenly you go to Walmart to get groceries and then you find a Budo. Like, you're just like, what the hell, and what am I pre-ordering for? But then again, not every Walmart is the same. Not every collector is fortunate enough to stumble upon GIJOE Classified figures at their Walmarts, because I know for me in the East Coast, there's literally 0 classified figures at Walmarts, all 4 or 5 of them that I've been to, and it's absolutely a shame. So that's why I gave up toy hunting at Walmart, at least for classified figures, because I just know I'm never going to see them. Target, on the other hand, has its ups and downs. My Target usually is extremely delayed by a few months. So granted, I'll probably see some classified figures out on the shelves probably in the next 3 to 4 months. Let's see here. JK says, hit the like button. Yes, it's been a while since I've streamed, so please do hit that like button. Let's get the momentum back on the stream or on the channel. And shout out to everybody who's new here, who has subscribed in the past 2 weeks. So thank you guys so much for joining. We'll start the actual topic of the stream in just a little bit, but let's talk about some stuff here. Vil the Great says, is Walmart. Oh yeah, and speaking of, even, you know, we'll just talk about it right now. Well, even though there's a topic about it, but I find it very fascinating. You know what? Let's just go ahead and get into it. I find it very fascinating that Ghost Viper is supposed to be, you know, a WalmartCon exclusive and being up on Hasbro Pulse's website tomorrow, but 4 days ago, people are already starting to find Ghost Viper at Walmart. As great of a scenario that is, I don't know if that's embarrassing or it's just funny or it's a mess of a situation when it comes to Hasbro and Walmart, because imagine, again, you're sitting at home and you're like, man, I can't wait to wake up at like 10 a.m. to get a Ghost Viper, which, mind you, is $55. And then you go to Walmart just for groceries, and then you find a Ghost Viper randomly, like on the pegs, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, you would have a stroke, I would assume, because the figure hasn't even been announced to be like in stores technically, and it's more of a, you know, Walmart CollectorCon pre-order, and then here you are, collectors finding them on shelves. And there was numerous collectors finding them on shelves, you know, snagging up at least 2 of them. And that's definitely one thing to note for price-wise, because speaking of prices, that's one thing, one topic I do want to talk about is, if you guys are aware, we recently had an Amazon Prime Day sale where a lot of classified figures, not really the hard hitter ones, but like a good bunch went up on Amazon's website, or for like $15 up to $18, maybe $20 at most, maybe $13, $12, probably the least. The thing I find very fascinating about that is, here we are as collectors pre-ordering figures for $25, $26, up to like $30 something, maybe $55 depending on what the figure is, or $40, etc. And then next thing you know, you wait like 6-7 months, you see on Amazon Prime in their sales that the same figure that you bought for like like almost $35, $28, $29, whatever, is down to like $13, So, and we've seen this trend happen in the past 2.5 years now for classified figures. So unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, that gave me an insight for me to be like, should I spend $28, $26, $27 on a figure and pre-order it? And obviously you'll get it in hand at some point, and then you can, if you're a YouTuber who reviews figures, that's a whole different scenario. But if you're like a general collector like I am, who doesn't care about getting figures first or last, is it better to buy the figure, get it over with, and then have it, like, meaning once you pre-order it, or do you rather prefer to wait like 6-7 months and get it for like almost like twice, like less the price, right? So I think when it comes to the latest wave, because I did pre-order Sci-Fi and Desert Scorpion from Big Bad Toy Store, which unfortunately has not even shipped yet. A lot of people from Pulse have already gotten their figures, and I'm still here waiting. But because of that, it's one of those things where I have no rush. It's like whenever I get it, I'll get it, and then I'll review it on the channel. But we do know that at some point, because we've seen that these figures are on Amazon Prime, that probably Sci-Fi and Desert Scorpion will probably go on sale probably next year. And it's true that probably not every figure will hit this fate, because again, it's not like all the hard hitters, but it's like decent stuff that you probably want in your collection, like Retro Scarlet, Retro Recondo, Retro Beachhead, Retro Snow Serpent. Um, what's the name? Scrap Iron was also on sale. You had the new Storm Shadow figure. And then, so yeah, so that's why I think I'm probably gonna be playing the waiting game for a lot of figures moving forward, unless it's like a figure that I really, really, really want. Like I really wanted sci-fi. Then yeah, I'll pre-order it day one. But if it's like figures like version 4 Snake Eyes or I don't know, some other random ass like character, then I can definitely wait. All right, let's catch up with the chat and then we'll get this thing started. Um, all right, so Flaming Crow says, I'm debating trying to pre-order Ghost Viper or try my luck in the wild. I mean, that's a very hard scenario. It could go either way. Because the thing about Walmart is that, yeah, Walmart may stock well to an extent, but the chances of them canceling on you is also likely too. And that's another scenario that people have been going through. So it's like, what is the point? But again, you never know. You could get lucky. Vil the Great says the Hawk is already on sale on Amazon, and that was an Amazon exclusive too. And think about it, the Stinger that people paid like up to $100 for, I think what, 89, 180 something dollars, went down to like $50. I mean, that's crazy. Todd C says Budo has shipped. Yeah. Let's see here. 17 says Lego sucks. Kai Trucking 767 says accept exclusives. Yes, that's true. Yeah, this is more for like the general mainline releases. This does not include like super exclusives or whatever. All right, so let's start the big talk of today, which is we are officially on the road, or should I say in the mere few hours from New York Comic-Con from beginning. So for those who are sleeping on the channel and have not seen anything in the longest time, thankfully, today will be the last day that I talk about freaking, well, Pythona, we still got a little bit more time, but this will be the last day we talk about Ghost Viper because tomorrow, October 9th, Ghost Viper will be going up for pre-order on Walmart's CollectorCon's website, and the link is already there on my post tab page, so go ahead and find that, or you can check my YouTube shorts. I posted the link in the pinned comments. Then tomorrow is also October 9th, which means New York Comic Con starting, so the GIJOE Classified Pythona figure will be going up for pre-order around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific, which means general public, or sorry, premium members will get their shot at first, and then you'll see general public after. And I've shared this thoughts so many times before on the on previous videos where I talked about how we've seen the trend of people talk about how much they hate Cobra Law, or they hate how much the 87 movie has ruined G.I. Joe, or it's not like the G.I. Joe they wanted, etc., etc. But when it comes to collecting these figures, we've seen it that regardless, Pythona, you know, we've had the Once a Man Cobra Commander sell out like hotcakes. We've seen what's his name, Nemesis, Immortal Enforcer, go up for pre-order, and then he sold out like hotcakes. Even though that's not necessarily my favorite design, but he sold out, and people were saying like, you know, they hate Cobra Law, but yet it still sells out. Pythona is really no different because she will be the third figure out of 5 to be part of the Cobra Law, because after her we only have the Royal Guard, the Army Builder, and then we still have the big badass Globulus. I think Globulus will most likely be the last figure in terms of Cobra Law because there's only 5. Well, technically 4 if you want to count if you exclude Once a Man Cobra Commander. But yeah, I mean, I mean, think about it. She comes with the soft goods cape, cloth, and then she comes with a hood and all those extra hands and like accessories that we've seen from the movie that she uses when she infiltrates the Cobra base. Therefore, yeah, I mean, she looks fine. I mean, again, it's one of those things where you can be strategic and all military for your classified figures, or you could uh, dip into like figures that just look good in your collection. Vil the Great says troop builders can wait on. Todd C says $7 is worth less now than it was a year ago too. That's true. Sabotage, welcome to the chat, says after Walmart canceling my crystal ball, I freaked out and bought it from a seller for twice the price, and now he seems easy to get. Really? Oh man, how much? If you don't mind me asking, Sabotage. Actually, I don't know. I don't know if you want to share that information, but okay, twice the price. Ah man, that sucks. How much, or better yet, how much is he going for now? Crystal ball Sabotage, if you know the price. How's it going, Christopher Bouchard? What's going on? Desert Scorpion Sci-Fi are on the way. Yeah, we're gonna talk about all the new render reveals soon, shortly. I did not watch the Savage Crucible stream, but I will after this stream. What's going on, Lidub? Thank you so much for joining. He says, "What's up, peeps?" Robert says, "A family member sent me Cold Slither today. Was stunned. Nice, man. That's awesome. Bravo, bravo. Don't you love it when family helps you out with figures?" Chris Yule says all the sales are to clear out this year's excess inventory. Yeah, I mean, think about how they utilize the retro card back Flint with that new artwork. I've seen posts of people saying that they bought like 3 to 5 or like 3 Flints or 2 Flints, and both of them are their a regular retro carded Flint, and now they're just sharing it all over Instagram or they're sharing it all over Facebook, and they're just like, man, like I don't want this shit. Like I bought it so I can get the variant card art, and now I don't have it because I already have this figure, but I just wanted to get the card art, and now I have 2 other retro Flints again. So it's like, does anybody want to trade or anyone want to buy it? And it seems like they really, I don't want to say suckered collectors in, but they really got them into think or like hoping that, I mean, there's only like what 85 versions of that Flint card art, so it's like it's such a gamble. And I have seen that there's one collector who posted on eBay who posted their Flint for about like I think $200. I could be wrong. And then there's another person who got their Flint, the new card art, and I don't know, it wasn't enticing enough for me to be like, man, that's such a great piece of like if the artwork was really really awesome, then I can be like, all right, there's some value there, but I'm sorry, that artwork is just trash. Nerd Alert, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining. $50. Okay, Sabotage paid $50. Okay. I mean, yeah, like I totally understand where you're coming from because I know you really wanted that figure. It just I know it I'm sure it probably bummed you out. Alan Balcom, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you. I haven't seen anyone win a Flint for the initial year. I mean, think about it. There's like thousands of collectors, especially overseas and here, that collect classified, and then on top of that, they only have 85 of them. Like that's like a very slim picks right there. Chris Yule says that Flint was cash grab, really piss poor sales tactic. Flint must have been selling like doo doo for that to be a lame ass thing. I mean, look, I'm gonna share my thoughts on the Flint figure real quickly. It's like when you look at the anime, like okay, you can have your own personal preference on how you want your Flint figure to look like, but the retro cardback Flint is fine. Like it's good for what it is. It's just when you look at the animated series Flint, that dude is macho. I mean, listen to the guy's voice who plays Flint in the cartoon. He has that rugged like voice that's just like you don't want to mess with him. He's like a man's man. When I look at the retro carded Flint, I think of a fresh college student who just joined the military. You know what I mean? He looks too young. He looks too I don't know. Just like inexperienced in my opinion. Whereas you just watch the animated series and you look at Flint and you look like that guy has been through like stuff for years and rose up the ranks. And on top of that, that artwork is trash too. So it's like, kind of is what it is, but it's fine. A Roma, what's going on, brother? He says, nope, I actually just started the stream, so you're fine. We're all hanging in here right now. We're just talking quickly about the upcoming shows, and we can finally eliminate Python. Well, I'll probably talk about Pythona again once we get to MCM London because that's October 24th. So I'll probably remind people then on another live stream. But for now, this will be the last time we take a look at the upcoming show segment in terms of New York Comic Con and Walmart because we won't have any other live events after this. So kind of a bittersweet like finale, but it's fine. All right. I'll give it like a few more minutes and then we'll move on to all the new renders for today. Also, for those that are here in the chat, if you haven't done so, please go ahead and give a like to this stream. It'll definitely help the channel grow. Alan says, who took advantage of the Amazon deals? I picked up 6 figures for right around $100. I mean, 6 figures for 100 is a pretty decent price. That's kind of like how old figures used to be back then. Then we have Vil the Great says, Alan, that's what Sabotage paid for Crystal Ball. Missed out on the Trouble Bubble. I think he was, I forgot what the price was for that. Slimebones Lego Star Wars channel, what's going on, says, the retro Flint figure looks good, but let's not forget he's Flint and overrated. All right. Does anybody in the chat agree with Slimebones comment saying that Flint is an overrated character, or do you think Flint is awesome? Lidub says, when I see retro Flint, I think Woody and Buzz having a love child. Oh, God. Flaming Crow says, Hasbro destroyed my wallet. I didn't really look at Amazon. I mean, that's 100% understandable because how many figures came out to collectors? Slice and Dice, the Oz Striker. Well, I should talk about Oz Striker real quick. Slice and Dice, the Oz Striker, the Snake Armor, Budo, Sci-Fi, Desert Scorpion. Yeah, I mean, that's quite hefty for collectors. I think there's a lot more I'm forgetting. For those who have the Oz Striker, who just got their Oz Striker, how do you like the Oz Striker in terms of the wheels or the overall design of it? Because I know a lot of people gave a lot of lip for it in the sense of it didn't look like the original Oz Striker, but for those who received it, what do you think of it? And how do you like the crankcase figure? Timothy James, welcome to the chat, says, what's up, Shark? I'm back. It's good to have you back, brother. A Romo says, I get to relax and smoke a fat joint. Nice. Sabotage says, Flint is my favorite Joe. Well, yeah, I mean, as long as, yes, because everyone has their own personal preference on who their favorite Joe is, right? Vil the Great says, Flint is cool, but we have too many Flints and not enough Serpenters. I think we only have 2 Flints. We have the one Flint and then the retro Flint. I think there's only 2, right? Oh, but then we have the Arctic Flint, but that's not coming out till 2026, so next fall. So technically we'll only have 3 Flints at the moment. Al Kusanagi says, mine hasn't arrived. Oh, man. 17 Decimal says, Flint is a necessary pain in the ass. Oh, Flaming Crow says the Joe Bunker. Okay, Hawk and the MMS, and then the Diver 2-pack. Yeah, holy shit. That is a lot of figures, man. Within like a month? I mean, yeah, it's fun to get new figures in the mail, but it also becomes very overwhelming, especially when you have to save up for new pre-orders. So that's the thing I don't like is when pre-orders hit you right in the time frame when you're about to pre-order other new figures. Like imagine you have a set amount of money for yourself for pre-order for, like, let's say New York Comic Con, and you're ready to like pre-order figures like Marvel Legends and your Star Wars, your Transformers, your Classified, and then when you have that money set for you, and out of nowhere you get like 12 emails on saying like all your figures that you pre-ordered like 6 months ago are starting to ship now, like at this time, and you're just like, what the hell? Like, I'm supposed to be saving this money for these new figures coming out. That's why I worked so damn hard for it. And now it's like, I mean, unless you can save it for various means, but it's just annoying when this kind of shit happens. I think it's all intentional. Alan says, how am I feeling today? A Romo says, I hope you're feeling better. Hopefully, I mean, I'm like 60, 70%. Thanks to everyone who wished me on the other video, because I did take your advice and drink a lot of warm liquids and like ginger tea and stuff. So thankfully, I'm doing well. Holy shit! Ionic Blood says $900 in pre-orders this month for me. Holy crap! $900 in pre-orders. That's insane. Oh, Tiger Force Flint. Yeah, sorry. I forgot about Tiger Force Flint. Raccoon Boy. The well-dressed nerd art by Brave says Big Bad Toy Store Monster Force pre-orders unleashed. Speaking of Monster Force, I'm currently doing a video on Monster Force. If you want to check out my SHARKNEWZ Extra channel, that's where I talk about other various action figure brands, nothing classified related. If you want to subscribe to that, go ahead. It's called SHARKNEWZ Extra, and I will be doing a Monster Force video going over all the other Monster Force figures. That channel is just for fun, so if you want to support that one too, knock yourself out. Robert says, I went out $600 when I was expecting it. Shit. Robert says, I canceled my 3 Grim Vipers. Yeah, I was okay on Grim Vipers. All right. Let's move on to the digital renders, because that's what everyone is here for. So once again, we'll come back to this before the stream ends. Just remember, tomorrow, October 9th, Pythona will be going up for pre-order at 1 p.m. and Ghost Viper will be going up for pre-order at 10 a.m. Well, I'm talking about Eastern time, so you guys can go according to your timings. All right, here we go, folks. The render reveals of the past week. So up first, let's go ahead and talk about the first figure that was revealed in the render form, as we have none other than Hit and Run. All right, chat, let me know in the comments, what do you think about Hit and Run? Light Up says Thursday, not Friday. So that's one of the things I'm confused about, because I know that the G.I. Joe panel is Friday, right? However, Comic-Con is already starting tomorrow. So I feel like they might already post pre-orders for Pythona tomorrow, because it's already started, right? So if not, like don't stress about it. Like, I'll try to make as much updates as I can, but just keep an eye out on the post tab page, because you know, it's anything is unpredictable with Hasbro, because the panel is Friday, but Comic-Con starts tomorrow. So I feel like they might just, you know, shoot it out right there. All right, Jay Smith says, hi Shark in chat, hope all is well. Doing great, brothers, good to see you. Thank you for so much for joining on this Wednesday night. Vil the Great says, fire emojis. Drell Raven says, great. Robert says, Hit and Run is dope. Chris Yule says, green fire. Timothy James says, they did a great job on him, it's a buy. Scott Mora, welcome to the chat, says Hit and Run is a definite must grab. Ionic Blood says, digging it, although he should be gloveless, but I understand why. Exclamation mark. Alan says, if anybody needs any of the Mass Effect scuba divers on my target, just put 4 on the shelf. If anybody wants a scuba divers from Classified, hit up Alan. Sabotage says hit and run looks good. Not sure about the camo pattern and hope the goggles are brighter. Yeah, those are very muted reds. Very muted reds. Flaming Crow says hit and run is a must-have. Tidal Manisher says full force says tomorrow. It's not like it's a new reveal. It's just an exclusive. I see. So yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense because why would they waste an entire day and wait till Friday to have the pre-order go up when the pre-order should just immediately start right when Comic-Con begins. So technically, I would say, even I was under the assumption that it would start on October 9th, which is tomorrow. So I'll definitely post a link for Pythona. So just keep an eye out on the tab page for sure. Hit and run looks okay, says Lidub. I just wish that he had a bigger green knife and a proper weapon. I also always thought his goggles were orange and not red. Well, okay, hold that thought, Lidub. A Rowan says, "What's with the handle?" So for those who haven't or didn't own the original figure back in the day, so the handle is actually for the bag. At least that's how I equipped mine back in the O-ring one. So you can technically peg the handle onto the bag, which allows them to hold it. Unless they decide to change it, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure, like, if I go off of memory, it's for his bag. Wondering same thing. Zipline. I mean, like, here's the thing. So when it comes to the camo, right? Let's be honest. We all know that the O-rings had the best camo on their figures, and I know I keep using the O-rings as reference, but that's because they really knocked a lot of the figures out of the park for those. So, and that's one of my biggest gripes about Classified is that the camo is not as vibrant or contrasting enough on figures as they should be, and that's kind of disappointing because that's what makes the figures pop a lot more, in my opinion. So when I bought the Nunchuck figure, and that's one of my favorite Classified figures, when I bought Nunchuck, like, those camo patterns on him was like terrible in my opinion. So I hope that Hit and Run does not get the same treatment, and I hope it's more dark. Like in it, I feel like with Classified when it comes to their camos, it's like they're very skinny and thin camo designs. Whereas if you look at the original O-ring characters, or the figures, the camo like really sticks out and pops up. And obviously, I would have to give an example because I do have one. So this is the Hit and Run from back in the day, and thanks to 3djoes.com for the images, as I do have permission to use all these photos by Carson. So thank you so much for allowing me to use these photos. So we can see, even just based off of the image of Hit and Run, I think it's just based on the render that the goggles red is muted roughly, but I feel like it might be, it should be the same as the version for Snake Eyes, the red, hopefully. But even based on the figure, you can see they pretty much stayed very accurate to the source. It's pretty good. All the straps and stuff, and they definitely added a little bit more onto the figure. And I forgot who said it in the chat that they weren't a fan of him having gloves, but the gloves kind of add a nice little touch to it. I think it's cool. Now, would it have been pretty cool if they added alternate glove or gloveless hands? I think that would have pushed the figure to a good limit. A little more versatility for it, but I think the gloves really just add enough. Like, it looks pretty badass. Kind of reminds me of like a Metal Gear Solid style figure, just because it's like he's got that whole camo and harness and stuff, and I love the clips and all the extra detail. Michael Ma says, how soon do you think Pythona will be available on Hasbro Pulse for ordering? Judging from Comic-Con, it seems to be the week after the con, and it'll be randomly sold. Um, so the way this usually works, if I base it off of memory, premium members go first, which means it'll probably sell out really fast because a lot of collectors are premium members. General public usually gets the leftover stock after that 1 hour time frame. For those who attend Comic-Con, will get their own, physical copy of Pythona. So that's, I guess, it's its own thing. Then because Comic-Con, this New York one, is 4 days, 9 through 12, which means we should see Pythona go up hopefully and roughly every day. I don't know what time every day. I mean, I know it's 1 p.m. for now, but if it sells out, she'll probably go back up again at random ass timings throughout the next 3 days after Thursday, or even Friday for that matter. So we've seen this trend happen many times with every single Pulse exclusive, even for Comic-Con. So if you miss out on Thursday or even Friday, chances are she'll go back up again on Saturday, even Sunday. And then even for Once a Man Cobra Commander and the, what's his name, Nemesis Immortal Enforcer, he even went up back for pre-order a few times before he permanently sold out. So there should be enough chances to get it. It's just we have to slave to be on the website for a while. Whenever I find out, I'll be sure to post it on my post tab page. So hopefully you guys, stay up to date on that as well, in case you're not on the website. Liquid Identity says, if the goggles come off the helmet and fit on his face, I'll be happy. I think they should be removable goggles, because if you remember the Lifeline figure, he comes with removable goggles. I don't think they would permanently put goggles on, I think Classified is one of the best Hasbro brands that they have, because when you compare, despite the prices being higher, but when you compare Classified figures to Marvel Legends get the low end of the stick. Even Star Wars figures, you're getting the main Jedi with a lightsaber and probably an effect, and that's it. Marvel Legends, you're getting the superhero with 2 hands, and that's it. Maybe a web effect. I don't know if it's Spider-Man. But here in Classified, man, you're getting I don't know, 4, 5, 6 different weapons, a backpack, removable goggles and helmets, and all these harnesses and straps. It kind of, I guess, puts it into the price to some degree. 17 says, pickup. Abromo says, it has grit to hit and run. Randall says, hit and run is an easy pass. Oh, there we go. Someone is passing on this guy. Ionic Blood says, seeing these two side by side, the lighting should make Classified hit and run brighter in hand. Yeah, I hope the lighting does, because sometimes the renders do come out a lot darker than the actual renders. Light Up says, I do like the zipper on the shirt, but that knife not being green and thicker, at least the handle and the goggles being red-orange kind of bothers me. I hope they're removable. Yeah, I mean, I really hope I'm pretty sure they should be removable. Soundwave says, welcome to the chat. Soundwave says, hello, Shark. Are we getting any pre-orders tomorrow? Yes, Ghost Viper tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. And according to many people, even Full Force, saying that Pythona will be going up tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So it should be just those 2 figures for now. At the moment, because we haven't gone to G.I. Joe panel, I don't even know if these figures are going up for pre-order too. They could easily be this entire wave is going up for pre-order on Friday. We don't even know. So it's going to be unpredictable Friday, that's for sure. But as of right now, it's really just Pythona and Ghost Viper. Title Manager says, I'm grabbing hit and run. Ionic Blood says, I can live without Zanzibar. Michael says, I'm a Night Viper fan too. Do you think the accessory night vision device will be available? The original had one. Yeah, hold that thought, Michael. We'll get to Night Viper shortly. Holonet says, for premium. It's for premium first, and then it'll be for general public after. The usual 1 p.m. and then 1 p.m. for premium, and then 2 for general unless they do like a complete open pre-order for everybody. But you know how Hasbro works. Premium members usually go first. All right, so that is Hit and Run. Is there anything else you guys want to say about this, or should we move on to the next figure? Otherwise, I'm pretty sure that the helmet and the goggles should be removable. There's no way they could create a figure and not have like attached helmets and stuff. I don't think that would be good. Arashikage says, "What's up, Shark? That Hit and Run looks good. Glad the greens aren't too bright. Did I just hear Zanzibar?" Yeah, I think 2 other collectors or subscribers are talking about Zanzibar. um. All right. So let's move on to the next one. So that is Hit and Run. I guess it's a pretty decent figure for now, despite some people wanting to pass on it, but it's good. All right. Next, let's talk about supposedly the I guess we can I guess based off of consensus that this is probably the weakest of the entire wave, which is a nice figure in my opinion, but all right, hold on, I'll get to it. So we have Mole Rat Stage 2, and next to it I have a comparison for Mole Rat, I guess now Stage 1. I forgot who I was talking to. Oh, what's up, Sunder Ganesan? Welcome to the chat, brothers. Good to see you with the shark emojis. I forgot who I was talking to prior. But we had a discussion on I think on one of the earlier videos where there's a lot of things to question about the Mole Rat Stage 2. Now, I find it interesting how sometimes collectors go like deeper than what the figure should be, which is great because a lot of us are also storytellers. We want to know the story behind these figures. So one of the questions, or few questions that collectors asked was, first of all, why is this Mole Rat Stage 2 figure green? Why did he change his outfits? Because if it's technically the same Mole Rat but just expanding the Energon crystals, shouldn't he still be wearing the purple or blue and orange? So that's only if you want to think too deep about it. Now, when it comes to storytelling, though, I think this is pretty decent because if you have these Mole Rat figures, this is a great way to army build multiple versions in terms of head sculpts, because I don't remember if I think the first one also came with an additional head sculpt that's normal, right? Or with even the gas mask, I don't remember. But that's like 2 head sculpts already, and then this new Mole Rat comes with 3 head sculpts, which means if you're army building the Mole Rats, you could literally have like multiple versions of different heads, and one of them is like, you're starting off the zombie apocalypse with standard head and then making your way up to the crystallized version. So story-wise, I think that's pretty cool. Like, I don't have any objections to it, but it's still considered the weakest of the entire wave, just because, let the chat speak for itself. A lot of people aren't really a fan of the Mole Rats in general, but it's fine. Trash Can Records, welcome to the chat. I believe it's your first time here. It says Hit and Run should have come with a broken car. When you said broken car, it just reminded me of that Street Fighter bonus stage where the characters would beat up a car. Sunder Ganesan says, why am I feeling like I made a second mortgage payment this month? Oh man, Sunder, you missed the whole chat with everyone else talking about how much they paid for their pre-orders. Vil the Great is giving thumbs down. Ionic Blood says, boo, get that off the screen. Lidub says that Snowcat Flint is actually the best Flint head. I'll be using that. That's true. It is a good head. Randall says, I just want the new head. Hasbro can keep the rest of the figures. Holonet says, I don't care for the Mole Rat design. Robert says, I like the idea of them doing new stuff. It's cool. And so I think one of the other reasons is a lot of people don't really read the Energon comics. So the fact that, a lot of people aren't I mean, some of them do, but not a lot read the Energon. Or is it Skybound or Energon? It's one or the other. I think it's Energon. I'm mixing them up. But because this kind of goes coinciding with Transformers, I personally was never a fan of mixing and matching like Joes and Transformers. That's just my personal take on it. But this kind of just dives into like mixing and mashing of two Hasbro properties, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just you're combining something in the world building sense of knowing that in this universe Transformers also exist, and you're just like, okay, well, might as well give us like freaking a 2-pack with Optimus Prime and Snake Eyes at some point. 17 says head swap them. Alan says, how did Hasbro not get sued by the creators of The Last of Us? The mole rat looks like a clicker from The Last of Us. Oh, I gotta check that out. I don't know. I've never seen that one. Trash Can Records says the whole suit was supposed to be orange. Was it? So what is the blue then? A Romo says it's effing wheat sauce. Oh, I think he means weak, right? Weak sauce. Christopher Bouchard says, how many G.I. Joe classified figures do you have? About... I mean, I have gotten like few more. I'm still waiting for Sci-Fi and Desert Scorpion, so that would make it up to like 90-something classified figures. I had to put some of them away in the bin just because I'm running out of space. You can tell behind me that all my shelves are stacked at this point, so a lot of the figures that aren't like speaking to me at this point, I'm putting them in a bin. The ones that I feel like deserve to still be on the shelf are behind me over here, and then I have a shelf on top of me on this side where I have all the other figures that are just posing on top. So I would say about 88, close to 90 something classified figures. Transformers and Joe's together never sat well with me. And Joe Energon storyline. Abram says, looks like that mole rat is a new mold. Well, yeah, these are brand new figures for sure, like new sculpting. One of the things that I find very cool about this particular figure is this basically can lead the way to Toxo Viper Cesspool, Toxo Viper version 2. I don't know, like it just gives me an idea that Cesspool is probably on the way. It says based on the Hazard Viper. Oh, okay. So perhaps we'll probably get a Hazard Viper at some point, which will be the prelude to the Mole Rats. That would be funny. Kenneth Bryant says, man, I want a cross-country figure. And cross-country came with the what vehicle was that? Slipping off my head. But do you think cross-country would come with this vehicle, or do you think they would just give us a regular figure by itself? Christopher says I only have 5. All good. All right. Anyways. Good night, A Romo. Okay, so let's move on from the mole rat just because Havoc. Thank you, Lidub. Okay, so let's move on from the mole rats because overall, I think, again, it's fine for what it is. It's just one of those things where, you know, it's not for everyone. It's just, it's like, what do you call it? It's like that side dish, whether you want to eat it or not. Probably the worst example ever, but you get the point. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. Okay. So up next, let's take a look at probably, I think this figure is probably the best figure of the entire wave, and that's none other than Lifeline. So what do you guys think of Lifeline? Robert says, I doubt we'll get cross country. Kenneth says, cross country came with the Havoc. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Vil the Great says fire emojis. Light says, I personally think Hasbro is counting on third-party vendors to supply vehicles now. I mean, think about it. The third-party companies like Ramen Toys or even, what's the other one, Fans Hobby, they're like pumping out, or even Gridiron, right? They're beasting on figures or vehicles, and Hasbro takes them like, I don't know, months. And then you look at these other third-party companies, and their detail is insane. Like, it's fan-bloody-tastic. Yeah, the prices might be higher compared to what we're getting, but at the end of the day, they're pumping out vehicles faster than Hasbro, which, you know, I don't know how you want to take that as. Arashikage says it's an easy pass on Lifeline. Lifeline is official, says Vil. Trash says we need emergency vehicles. Kenneth says loving Lifeline. Ionic says I want to see how he looks with the goggles. I'm sure they're gonna do photography without the helmet and goggles on. Timothy says I have to get this one. Light says he's cool. Don't use it if you don't want to. Light says Big Lob is the best. Trash says the vehicles everyone is dropping are only the Punisher. We need some classics. Jay Smith says, I wouldn't mind if we did a 2-packs for the drivers and pilots, Cutter and Lamprey. Ooh, that would be interesting. Jay says, Lifeline will look good in the collection. So here's my thoughts on Lifeline. So I mentioned this in my SHARKNEWZ video. And of course, I can't talk about it without having the O-ring next to it. So here's the thing. Anything from top to waist is fantastic. It's wonderful. Like it's a really great, like I think they nailed it from top to waist. Now, where I have an issue on the bottom is really the knee pads, which, I mean, I get why they would put knee pads on this figure because, you know, if he's going to rescue a character, he has to be on his knees, so makes sense. But if you look how it says rescue on the O-ring, thicker stencils goes all the way down to like the bottom of the kneecap, whereas the rescue on the classified figure is very condensed, very tiny, and because he has the knee pad, it's very crunched up above the knee joint. And so on top of that, they also give him a holster, which is fine, no issues there. But a gripe that I do have, is the boots, whereas if they had just given him white boots, like, again, I don't know how many people will agree with me on this, but if they had just given him white boots, I can overlook the knee pads and slightly the rescue text. If they had given him white boots, it could have easily been a 9.5 out of 10, right? I think, like, I can overlook the accessories, the color schemes of all that. It's just, man, like, you were like, it's like the team was so close to giving us a perfect Lifeline, and then they go and say, let's give him gray boots. So I'm just like, oh, what the hell, man. And even then, because he has a backpack, right, in the O-ring version, you can see the silver wrapping around his shoulders. This one doesn't, the classified one, which I guess it's still fine, no biggie. He still has the holster, the straps, the pouches, etc., etc. You can see that the O-ring one has the goggles sculpted onto the helmet, whereas I apologize because when I was removing the background, the goggles disappeared too. So so that means the goggles can be placed onto the helmet, which means you can definitely remove the helmet, and we'll see what his real face sculpt will look like afterwards. Sabotage says the rescue is a disappointment. Wish it was bigger. I 100% agree. Beginner Gunner says the red will stand out in the classified collection. Scott Mora says, I think the digital render doesn't do Lifeline justice. The real one is going to be fire. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Let's see here. Lida, Ionic Blood says, yeah, man, give the man white boots. Lidub says, I think the rescue is smaller because it's just a ridiculous thing. I know he's in the bright-ass red uniform, but I'm good with it. I mean, I just think that, I mean, it just kind of adds, like, nice details to the figure. So I can understand why people wouldn't like the text on it. It just seems more better and uniform when it's, like, thicker. I don't know how to explain it. Like, bigger, I suppose. Lionet, oh, sorry, yeah. Holonet says, these are just renders. To correct, tell Lenny to fix it. So the problem with telling the G.I. Joe team to fix the renders is we're not sure how far they've already gone to complete these figures. Because if I remember correctly, they did say, like, some time ago in one interview that the Joe team is a year ahead of schedule. So perhaps this figure has already been made, right? And it's probably being manufactured at this point. They were probably working on this figure like last year. So to have them change it, I don't know how much they can do, but perhaps we could see another version down the line, or perhaps this figure isn't even made yet and they're just teasing us with it. So anything can happen. Kenneth says, do you think they will put out a retro card roadblock? Probably. I think they will at some point, because we have what was the name? The heavy artillery roadblock, and that's technically not considered still the definitive roadblock in my opinion. It was just like a kit bash of classified and classy style at the same time. So Soundwave says, saving the white boots for the classic version. Oh man, sad face. Kenneth says, I don't have an issue with the gray boots for some reason. I mean, if it is gray, whatever, I can paint them white. Whiskey Tango, welcome to the chat, brother. It's good to have you here. Says, holy smokes, I have spent nearly $1,000 on GI Joe Classified and Operation Monster Force since they decided to charge at the same time. That sucks. However, I did hear that Monster Force is doing a very great job on their figures. Quality and detail and design. I just know that they take a long time to do it. Jason, welcome to the chat. Says, hope I'm feeling better. I'm doing much better. Thank you so much for checking in on me. Also, for those that are here in the chat, if you haven't liked this video, please go ahead and do so. Logan Homburg says, please no more roadblocks. He's getting almost overdone as Snake Eyes. Yeah, I think they're taking a huge break from Snake Eyes. I think people got the same fatigue right after the Tiger Force one. But we still have to wait for that other version. I think version 2 roadblock with the white t-shirt underneath, the one that we see in the later seasons of the animated series and the movie. Kind of like how the first classified version was, but you know, more classier. Whiskey says, Monster Force may end up being a little better than classified since Gridiron is doing the weapons. Oh, Gridiron is contributing to Monster Force's weapons? Oh, shit. Then that's probably a wrap. That's crazy. All right, so 17 says, picking up Death Lifeline. And for those that are collecting Monster Force figures, they did announce the pre-order for the guy in the blue suit with the hooded Cobra Commander alternate head for those that want to check it out. I think it's already up for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store if you want to see it. It looks really good. Not the suit guy, just the alternate head sculpt that looks like Cobra Commander in the hood. Since we know that the classified team won't give us a hooded Cobra Commander anytime soon, might as well pick that one up to cure your needs for the time being. I just don't know if the shades of blue are going to be in unison, but you might want to test your luck. All right, so we can pretty much agree that Lifeline is probably the best reveal of the night, or sorry, the best reveal of the 5 that they did so far. So I'm happy about this one. Other than slight little nitpicks here and there, I think it's still fine. All right, next, let's talk about a figure where I still haven't, I don't know, I still haven't adjusted to it yet. Okay, so we have Night Viper. What do you guys think of Night Viper? Jason says roadblock should come with the barbecue pit. That would be funny. Logan says, yeah, but can they do that roadblock later? There's no breathing room. Trashcan says the Dragonfly is the best vehicle. I mean, it is pretty sick. Whiskey says Monster Force has a blue hooded head sculpt and a crimson hooded head sculpt. Yes. Lidub says Monster Force is already better than Classified, but the loose it is by not real. Okay, yeah, I hear that Monster Force doesn't really. They take their sweet time. Cross Country came with the Havoc. Thank you, Michael. Lifeline looks amazing. Says minus the gray boots as Whiskey. Because I know that in my chat we have, or even on my channel, we have people who are actually in the military or have been in the military. So it's always good to see from their perspective how accurate or inaccurate some designs are. So that's why I like to see feedback from people that are like veterans or that are, that have been in the military to say like this should be here or they should not have done this design, etc., because they know a lot more. And the Borat onesies. I mean, let's be real. Night Viper looks like he's wearing, what do you call it? A banana hammock? Is that the right word? Holy shit. Chris Yule is a U.S. Navy veteran. Awesome, man. Let's all give a shout out to Chris Yule, Navy veteran. Awesome, man. My hat's to you. Trash Can Record says, is that a belt from Shipwreck? I don't think so. I think it's roughly all new. I try to do a comparison with the Hiss Tank figure, and the bottom legs seem to be different. It seems like a little more updated, not updated, but a different sculpt from the Hiss Tank. So it's not a reuse of that. Let's see here. I do apologize to what's his name, Robert, because he tells me how many times I've convinced him to buy figures, and I'm so sorry, man. Please don't listen to me. Night Viper is so-so, says Vil the Great. Randall says, I was so excited for Night Viper, now I'm not sure. Rob Colkert says, Night Viper looks good. I need to see the Night Viper from the side. That's true. Pat, oh, sorry, I read that one. Logan says, I was so excited for this, but it's a huge letdown with the skinny legs and the waist, plus that weapon is way too big for the figure that is supposed to be stalking people through the night. I do remember that Night Viper had a very badass bio. Jason says, I love Night Viper. He looks sleek, like a light unit that moves with speed and strikes deep than their repositions. Ooh. Michael says, I just prefer the vehicle figures. There are so many cool and rare characters. The vehicles would be too expensive and bulky anyway. It's a world of figures Hasbro's avoiding. I mean, I've said it since Classified started that doing 6-inch scale vehicles is definitely going to be a task for them. Because we know that not every vehicle is going to be made. The Real Zim, welcome to the chat, says, I like this Night Viper. I'm going to get multiples. Alan says, I need to see the face and how the visor looks. Timothy says, nice. However, still undecided. Not sure if we need more pics. Yeah, we definitely need to see the photography. Whiskey Tango says, Night Viper looks great. A slight departure from the original, but kept the retro looking the same. Liquid says, too much black. They covered too much of the iconic green. All right, so while people are talking about the Night Viper, hold on here. Holy shit. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot is an Air Force veteran. So we got Chris Yule and Whiskey. Holy shit, this is awesome. Congrats, or should I say my hats off to both of you, Whiskey and Chris Yule. Thank you guys so much for all that you have done for us and still do for us. Thank you guys, man. Love and respects to you and the family. And thank you for joining on tonight's stream, by the way. Cool, man. Navy and Air Force veteran on the chat. So cool. Anyways, check this out. Here is the Night Viper O-ring figure. Now, here's what I've always said since the beginning, that I've always been excited and couldn't wait to see Night Viper in the classified line. Look at the O-ring Night Viper and then look at the new one. Now, hear me out. I'm going to try to be as balanced as I can be because I don't want to be like a pessimist or anything. But I agree with people saying that the greens have been overshadowed by the blacks, because look at the Night Viper in the O-ring version. Hopefully it's kind of a clearer. You can see how the exterior of the legs have the black vertical lining with the greens on the inside, kind of like how the Viper figures are. And then he's got like the green sides on the boots with like the black vertical lines on top. So it's very well balanced of a figure. And then the torso, you can see a lot of the greens, you can see the black straps, and then it just makes the figure look so enticing. Then I look at the classified figure and it's just like he's wearing a Speedo, which really turns me off. Then he's wearing those, somebody said, what is it? They're called like ass clap cheek stuff. I don't know what you want to call it. Those thigh things. Then too much blacks in the forefront of the actual figure. Now we don't know the back of the figure. It could still be green. So we have to see how he turns the legs or even the thighs to see if there's going to be greens. I'm sure there will be. It's just there's way too much black in the forefront. And one of the collectors did show me, or they did tell me in one of my previous comments that he does have the sheath for the knife on the left shin. So the thing is, it's black. Look at it, the angle on the O-ring one is a bit hard to see, but he has a green knife in the sheath on the left shin. Whereas you look at the Night Viper here, you can see that there's an indent for a knife to go inside the sheath on his shin for the left leg, but it's also in black, and the knife is also black, which is fine. It's just everything is too it's all too black in my opinion. They just needed some greens to like break up the blacks. Let me see. And then on top of that, I do like the torso piece. I think that's fine. Like I'm okay with them modernizing it and updating it to the best that they can do. But this only tells me that perhaps maybe someday in the future we could get another version of Night Viper that looks more faithful to the O-ring. Now I know some people are saying that we should not get blown up versions of the 3-inch figures in 6-inch scale because they want to see modern takes of it, which is fine. It's just that also makes the team look like they're it kind of makes it look like they're all over the place, you know what I mean? And then one of my biggest gripes on this figure is the Cobra logo because it's like bright ass neon yellow. And the original one had a green, lime green logo, which also kind of blended in to the actual it blended into the outfit. So because the yellow is on the actual black armor piece, if the yellow was on the green torso, I think it would have probably looked a little bit better, but because the yellow pops out too much on the black, it makes it hard to like it because it contrasts too much. And then we have the visor piece, which you can see in the O-ring that it's like how the Alley Viper piece is, which is cool. You can see that he is holding the scope in his hand on the O-ring one. It's just, I think in this render, I think they already put it on him. So I think that if he turns his head sideways, we could see him already utilize the scope. It's just maybe if they don't add the scope on it, then I'm going to be disappointed. But hopefully the design should not be like an Alley Viper re-sculpt or like, I don't know. Let me catch up with the comments. I gotta go all the way back up. Give me 1 second. Where am I? Okay. Lidub says I need to see more renders of the Night Viper. I agree. Michael says, please compare the classified to the modernized Pursuit of Cobra Lifeline. Pursuit of Cobra is often ignored. Yeah, I should. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I should do that for the next live stream. Logan says, I also got a bad feeling that the Night Viper's rifle is going to be too floppy. With Hasbro's weapon in plastic and the gun turned into a banana in his hands. And another thing is that you can't see it on the O-ring one here, but on the right side of his leg, he has 2 pegs sticking out, and that's where you attach the weapon to, which you can see in the photo. It might be hard to see for you guys. But here, they replaced the 2 pegs with holsters, which is fine, but some people said it's not really needed to have the 2 pegs to place in the weapon there, but I think it still would have been a little cooler. Whiskey says, retired after 25 years of service. Damn, that's crazy. Good stuff. HoloNet says, yeah, considering even medium-sized vehicles such as Snowcat, now quality as Haslab's. Chris Ewell was, I was a deck seaman. Oh, man. My head's in the gutter. Aviation mate on the USS 2, 2004 to 2008. Awesome. That's amazing, man. I was thinking of the Sega Dreamcast game, Seaman. I apologize. My head just went somewhere else. Chaps, everyone says. He is wearing ass chaps. So I'm glad that I'm not the only one who sees it. Whiskey says there will be a retro one eventually, which may sell classified version since I will retro looking figure. Timothy says I just need a Night Viper immediately. Michael says, speaking of vehicles, let's just cut to the chase and vote for the White Defiant. Oh, that's huge. Ionic Blood says somebody confirmed that the helmet is removable. Jason says Night Viper does look a bit like a Vape Lord. Low light head swap, says HoloNet. Robert says I hope the scope isn't as long as the OG. Yeah, that it should be more in size. Logan says, yeah, the small scout rifle with the leg holster on the OG Night Viper has the cool 80s, 90s sci-fi aesthetic. And that's one of the things I loved about it. Sega Fish Game was quite bizarre. See, HoloNet knows what I'm talking about. Russell Terrell says, dang, what have I missed? Did you talk about the hit and run? Unfortunately, I did, Russell. I'm sorry. Whiskey says, does anyone know if pre-orders drop tomorrow? Yes, Ghost Viper tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then many people, including Full Force, has said that Pythona tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So 2 figures pre-orders starting tomorrow. If not, we'll see what happens on Friday, but most likely it should be those 2. So going back to what I was saying, this is one of those figures where, like, Night Viper, like, I have a strong attachment to this figure, and I've been saying that for so long on this channel, both my other channels, The Artist Shark and SHARKNEWZ version 1.0. I've said it so many times that I can't wait for Night Viper, and now I finally see it, and I'm just like, because I remember going to Toys R Us and my aunt buying this figure for me, right? So that's what became one of the best memories I had. So growing up playing with it, I'm just like, I love it, and I just like, it became one of my all-time favorite Cobras, and I played the hell out of it. So I had an attachment to it. So fast forwarding all these years, and then you see a 6-inch scale version of it, and you have this vision in your head of how you want certain classified figures to be, and then you see something that's a totally drastic change, and you're just like, you're trying to adapt to change, but at the same time you still reminisce the old style, but then you're also like, I gotta accept it, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm kind of like underwhelmed by this figure, even if it looks great, because for example, Shipwreck was one of my all-time favorite characters as well. And then we look at the classified Shipwreck, and despite having some good stuff, I feel like Shipwreck was also a little bit underwhelming, especially in the face department. So I feel like all my favorite G.I. Joe characters are getting like the low end of the stick. But that's just my opinion. Okay, this should have put another shade of green for the chest armor. I agree. Maybe it's removable. I don't know. Michael says, I ordered the card art. The artist forgot to put the NV device on the visor. It looks like Classified did the same thing with this. It is what it is. Oh, man. Light Up says drops are usually Friday. That's what I'm saying. I thought it was Friday, but I guess people are stating that it's tomorrow. So I don't know. Just check the post tab page. Make sure you're subscribed or keep notifications on for when I post it. By the way, we're at 57 likes. If we can get to 60 likes, let's make it possible. Whiskey says, does anyone... Oh, I just read that one. Sabotage says, I thought we would get an Alpine render today. Alpine? I mean, Alpine already released. I felt the same way when Blowtorch dropped. The classified one was slightly underwhelming, and I am waiting for the retro to come out. Yeah, I know Whiskey has been saying on my channel. I remember every time I made like hold on. Title Manager says breaking news. BMAC says tomorrow. Really? Timeout. Everybody hold your horses. Yeah. Am I logged on Instagram? No, I'm not. Damn. Ah, crap. Everybody give me a second here. Where is BMAC? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here on the live stream right now, take a look at the screen. Well, take a look at the small screen of me on the bottom. Because I'm not logged on Instagram on my desktop, unfortunately. Take a look at the screen. There is a picture of Pythona. There is Pythona, and on the bottom it says pre-orders starting 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday, October 9th. So for those that are Checking on the stream right now. There it is. Pythona, Thursday, October 9th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This is from BMAX Instagram, the guy who's also part of the... Oh, damn it. The guy who's part of the Transformers... Hold on. And look, he even talks about Ghost Viper tomorrow, 1 p.m. Or sorry, 10 a.m. Walmart Con, Eastern Time, Eastern. So for those who are in the stream right now, please, once again, take a look on the screen so you guys do not miss out. Pythona, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, tomorrow, October 9th, Thursday. So I will post the pre-order link on my post tab page for those in case are sleeping. But now you guys got an actual official confirmation. And thank you to Title Manishir. I appreciate that, brother. All right, so those were pretty much my thoughts on Night Viper. Thank you, Title Manager. I appreciate it. All right, so, and now, last but not least, let's take a look at Big Lob. What do you guys think of Big Lob? Now, granted that Big Lob has had mixed reactions for any G.I. Joe fan, because even when I watched... All right, let me tell you a story. When I bought the VHS tape of the G.I. Joe movie and I watched it, I remember seeing the new recruits and I was like, holy shit, this is such a badass team. And then I see this tall dude who looks like a basketball player, and I'm like, what the hell is he doing in G.I. Joe? So, granted that Big Lob hasn't really been my favorite part of the new recruits, but at the end of the day, he was very pivotal roughly to the G.I. Joe movie, and if it wasn't for him and the other 4 recruits, or 4 or 5, they wouldn't have saved all the other Joes from Cobra Law, so technically he plays a very big role in the movies. Therefore, it is what it is. However, for me, this is 110% pass. I do not need this figure. I have no use for this figure. As much as I love the 87 new recruits, Big Lob was just not something in my will of collecting. Robert says an easy pass. Whiskey says I'll be getting 2 Pythonas, or getting a Pythona and 2 Ghost Vipers. Thank you so much, Logan. Appreciate it, brother. I don't know if you're still here. Vilda Great says I'm getting Big Lob. Robert says pass. Randall says super excited for Big Lob. Whiskey says not the biggest fan of Big Lob. He was the weakest new recruit in the cartoon, but I will get him so I have the complete collection. Yeah, I mean, if you're a completionist, then of course, you gotta get it. Title Manager says, I need to see him live. The render isn't selling me. Hollinet says, the Vamp Aftermarket. Jay Smith says, Big Lob looks good in the collection. Yeah, I mean, we have to see how he's going to look in good, in the actual figure form. Plus, he plays basketball, and I love playing basketball, so definite pickup. Oh, good stuff. Liquid Identity says, Big Lob is ridiculous. Well done figure, though not for me. I'll save money for real Joes. Light says, I think our iconic loved figures look different. Version 2 Snake Eyes, Night Viper, Shipwreck, etc. so they can come back and take our money. Yeah, I mean, it is Hasbro. Hasbro is known to do reissues and remolds and all that stuff, as always, so I'm not going to be too surprised. Custom Civilian says, Trash Can. Arashikage says, good arms for customs. And plus, he seems tall, which is good. Big Lob should be tall. But the Rawhides, can you print out a cartoon head? Oh, thank you for pointing that out, Ionic Blood. I've seen comments of people saying that they're not a fan of the new head sculpt and because it looks too modern. I mean, say what you will or have your opinions, because you know, classified line kind of switches between cartoony to realism. Big Lob had a very interesting haircut or hairstyle in the movie, or even depicted in, I guess, the drawings, I suppose. He had more of a widow's, I don't want to say widow's peak, but I don't know. He had like a really weird, like Pennywise style hair. um, this one looks completely modern, completely like fresh and up to date with his haircut, etc., etc. Which reminds me, I do have, since we never got, so we've gotten a big lob before, in the sense of, um I believe it was the GI Joe Collectors Club, but we never actually got in a 1987 big lob in the O-ring, like back in 87. So we've had other variants of big lob like way later, when GI Joe was hitting the revamps and anniversary lines and all that stuff. But according to Super 7, as you can see here, they finally gave us a big lob. So look at the big lob that we see here from Super 7. You can see how they gave us that hairstyle with the sides. You can see he's kind of like, the hairline recedes from the left and right, but he has like that widow's peak style kind of in the front, whereas the classified scaled version has really just like a high fade, like a high, yeah, was it called high fade? Yeah. Um, and I guess the face is fine. You know, it's not like, it's very like that NBA All-Star brand that Hasbro was doing. Because Big Lob actually had very unique features in the animated movie. He kind of had like a, like if you just look at the O-ring one, right? He had more of a longer, skinnier face, whereas this one just looks like a high school student fresh out of college, or like a like a basketball player fresh out of college or something. Um, so I don't know. I mean, weapons aside, basketball is fine. The grenades, all that stuff is cool. It's just, yeah, I don't know how you want to associate yourself with this figure in the collection. Light Up says Chuckles is trash to me. Chuckles looking like a discount Magnum PI. I mean, he could have been based off of that too. Big Lob is fire, says Vil the Great. Holland says, is he seriously number 14? Isn't Bazooka also number 14? I think, but this is the Big Lob is a basketball jersey and Bazooka is football jersey, so I think it's okay to have them both be 14. Whiskey says, I will give Hasbro credit for making figures that were seldom released or overseas variants. Makes it more fun knowing that everything is in the table. Comics, movies, 80s. Now I need Don Moreno. Yes. Lady Snake Eyes. Robert Wanlin says, the sooner we get away from the cartoon and movie towards the characters in the comics, and happier I'll be. I'm sure at some point. Arashikage says, adding a basketball hand is ridiculous. I mean, it's okay. Like, it's good. Big Lob is Big Lob. I mean, I think adding a basketball is fine. I don't see too much of an issue. It's just a nice little fun little prop to give to the figure. Light Up says, as a black person, there were no other black people rocking that Big Lob style back in the day. Blade was close. I'm so glad they changed it, and I look forward to getting him. Okay, I mean, as long as you like it, I mean, that's totally great. I mean, if you know your references of back in the day of how hairstyles were, then this works. Trash says, the next Haslab should be the Defiant. Oh man, that's way too huge. We got to get so many other vehicles before we get the Defiant. 1-7 says pass. Ionic Blood says, biggest ball drop in the cartoon history was not expanding on the Rawhide lore. I can see Tunnel Rat and Big Lob getting into trouble with Jinx and Chuckles battling them out. Well, speaking of rawhides, thank you so much, what's his name? Ionic Blood, for reminding me. Let's take a look at the rawhides. Kenneth says, I've been waiting for Big Lob. Troy Roach, welcome to the chat, says, only thing I'm locked in on is at the super secret icy terrain vehicle reveal. Oh yeah, that should be fun. Whiskey says, why Quinn wasn't released with the Snowcat Haslab boggles my mind. I think it's because a lot of people said that Quinn was like half villain, half hero, so they didn't want to like, they wanted the Snowcat to be just all heroes, I suppose. Paul, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining, brother. So going back to whose comment was that? Ionic Blood's comment. The movie, you're right. The movie didn't really showcase the lore of the new recruits in the sense of, we know that the movie heavily focused on Falcon because he's Duke's half brother. So, and the reason why Jinx was a more dominant female character out of all the others is because she played like that fling love interest for Falcon. And she kind of kept him on guard throughout a lot of the other stuff. And then Chuckles, we know Chuckles didn't really do shit in the movie other than throw the giant missile out of his tank. But the thing about Chuckles is that this Chuckles that we see here is still not the accurate version of Chuckles. The cartoon movie version of Chuckles had the white shirt with the yellow floral patterns. Therefore, we should see another Chuckles get released somewhere down the line. We know that Law and Order's only scene in the movie was getting the finding the land, or what do you call it? The shoot. Damn it, it's blanking. The training scene with Beachhead, and then Tunnel Rat had his only scene with Big Lob and in the training sequence, and then after that we haven't seen them have any type of storyline. So I agree, we should have gotten a little more storytelling with these characters, but they did again play a pivotal role in the sense of, if it wasn't for these characters staying back, because the other characters went to Serpentor's fortress, then if it wasn't for these guys, I think the GIJOEs technically would have all been dead. So technically, these characters saved the entire G.I. Joe roster, right? Because they stayed back because they were inexperienced, and then they didn't want their comrades to die at the hands of Serpentor or Cobra Law, so they practically rescued the entire Joe team, which technically this is the lineup that saved the entire line, so... Hollandnet says, isn't Big Lob a bit too short in that group shot? All right. As you wish, man. There you go. I hope that helps. And yes, that Falcon is very hideous. Let's see here. Kenneth says, I mean, if you're tired of the cartoon G.I. Joe, I mean, you can collect the Valaverse figures or real-looking soldier figures. I don't think I'm tired of it. I'm good. The real Zim says, I forgot how bad Falcon's face was. Yes, the worst Falcon in history. Robert says, I was an army brat and finding comics was easier than finding the channel. Whiskey says, Law and Order was such a great figure for me as a kid. Lots of memories. Yeah, another thing with Law and Order is that the vest is also dark blue and it's also zippered up, whereas the original Law and Order was a lighter blue vest and the vest was unzipped. Therefore, chances are we may see another Law and Order down the line. Who knows? Tunnel Rat, I've had a lot of nitpicks with this figure just because even though Tunnel Rat is my #1 favorite Joe character, it's just the quality of the grays that they used on it just gives me a damn headache. And I wish that his pants were jet black. Like, it should have been black instead of gray. And then you guys know how I feel about the knee pads. But otherwise, the torso, all that is fine. It's just there's some nitpicks I had on it. So yeah, so that's the 87 cast, which is finally we can say we've completed the entire GI Joe 87 new recruits. So thank the Lord, we are officially done. You know, thank the Lord, we're finally done with this entire new recruits. And chances are we could see another version of Jinx where she's more fully clothed in the sense of her arms having the full red outfit and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll come back to the new recruits someday in the future if they ever update Chuckles, Falcon, aside from the Night Force one, Jinx, and I don't know. I feel like we might get a new re-releases of all these at some point. All right, Russell. Thank you so much, brother. All right, so now let's just quickly talk about the what we know so far for classified. So let's talk about what we know so far for classified, because Pythona and Ghost Viper will be going up tomorrow. Therefore, we can eliminate these off the list. Well, starting tomorrow or in a future live stream, I can eliminate Pythona and Ghost Viper off the list, which basically means we will only have the Mole Rat Stage 2, Night Viper, Big Lob, Lifeline, Hit and Run, and then the other 3 Arctic figures are part of the Haslab. However, because we know that there is a G.I. Joe panel on Friday for New York Comic Con, chances are we might see official photography for those 5 releases, as well as more new name-only reveals and digital renders, which will definitely be exciting because now we can add some new names and new renders to this list because, yeah, I mean, it should be so damn exciting. I cannot wait. Oh, okay, Kenneth, got it. Holland says, now we just need a classified Tomahawk. Oh, God. Light Up says, the real story why there wasn't a focus on these guys is because Transformers was tragic. Killing Prime and Duke was supposed to die in the movie, but Transformers made them pivot, so the story was disconnected. Yeah, I guess that makes perfect sense. Whiskey says, Law and Order looks great in my collection. Love the bright colors of the G.I. Joe. One reason that makes the line special. Yeah, I love when the colors pop, man. That's good stuff. So yeah, so we will come back to this particular. So do keep a note of this because we're gonna eliminate 2 figures off this list tomorrow or the next live stream, and then we should have some more renders to add into this list by Friday if they do a panel and they announce more renders to talk about, which will be really exciting. So I can't wait to see what else they have next. And speaking of what we have next, before we conclude with tonight's stream, Iceberg is the final figure that was announced during San Diego Comic-Con, and I honestly thought that they were going to reveal or announce him today, but chances are we might see the render reveal saved for the panel on Friday. After that, we have no other names other than the leaked listings for Taurus, Red Dog, and Flash, which at the time of making this video have only been listed. They haven't been officially confirmed by the Joe team just yet, so that's why they're on the bottom under Iceberg. So because we know that there's a brand new classified vehicle announced, the new icy terrain vehicle, we should see probably Iceberg revealed this Friday during the panel, which will be extremely exciting, hopefully. Otherwise, we should see a lot more names added to this list, which, again, you guys know that I will definitely provide an update for in a future SHARKNEWZ video. All right, so other than that, stay tuned for more SHARKNEWZ videos, more, I don't know, whatever updates we have, because Comic-Con officially started or is starting soon. So once again, let me go back to where we started from. Pythona tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Ghost Viper tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we still have MCM London, but we'll talk about that at another live stream. So I will provide pre-order links in my post tab page, so make sure you guys either check Hasbro Pulse on your own. I know you guys will probably do it, or if you're going to be on the channel, at least I'll have the links available for you guys there too, just in case. So with that being said, I would love to thank you guys all for joining this October special live stream, because I freaking love October. I appreciate everybody for joining on tonight's stream. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for everybody that was in the chat tonight. Thank you to everybody. And Solo Sinner joined. Thank you so much, Solo. Thank you to everyone who has liked the video, and thank you to those who have watched tonight's stream but were not in the chat. Thank you guys for even joining on this Wednesday night. I appreciate it. I should do another live stream later this week talking about all the new reveals as well. So stay tuned for our updated live stream in the next few days. So with that being said, thank you guys all for watching. Good luck on your Pythona and Ghost Viper, and I will see you all in the next live stream. Take care and good luck and happy Sharktober. And